Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jeremy, founder of QuickMail.io.
Hey, and this is Jack from emailsthatsell.com.
Welcome to part 2.
Today, we're going to be picking up where we left off on our episode covering this new CTA swipe file that's available for free at quickmail.io/goodies. You can check it out. It's going to be the resource that you're going to want to have open somewhere on your computer while you're crafting your cold emails. You can basically copy and paste good calls to actions for all kinds of cold emails.
And if you like it, just don't send the file. Actually, make them a favor and send them to the URL where they can find it, so they'll have other resources they can pick things from.
Tell your friends. And hey, while we're asking for favors, give us a review on iTunes. Why don't you?
Or Stitcher.
This podcast for you. Yeah. Tell us what you think. Even if you have some things to share, we'll read it. We'll think about it.
Yeah, and actually, just keeping the digression here. I mean, Jack and I receive a lot of email about how great a podcast is. Please, guys, just go ahead and then share it. Do a review so more people know about it.
Every time we get a new review, I think Jeremy and we give each other air high fives over Skype. It makes our day. So throw us a review if you like the show.
All right, let's move on. Where were we?
We're gauging interest here. So these are a collection of call to actions that you can use if you just want to gauge interest. If you want to send cold emails to just find out if you're on the right trail, or maybe if your startup idea is worth pursuing or not. Let's take a look at some of these calls to actions that have to do with gauging interest. So you really find out what we're talking about here.
It goes like this. Are you open to learning more about an insert topic? ?
Couple things here. First, this is one of the lowest levels of commitment that you can possibly ask a prospect, because if they're not opening to learning more about something, your chances of getting them on the phone or chances of hooking them for a sales call are extremely low. So, Jeremy, I may use this call to action maybe for my first cold email campaign. Maybe I have no idea what my audience really cares about. I don't know the benefits I should mention in my copy. So maybe I just want a bunch of calls to just find out the need about a particular business idea I have, see if prospects are interested or if I'm wasting my time.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly the same. Pre-qualifying prospects. Maybe I can't really distinguish between two types of prospect, and I know one is interested, the other one isn't. And I may actually use that in a 2-part campaign.
There you go.
Where the first one is effectively just getting that first yes or permission to send something.
Right.
And then carry on the second part campaign.
For example, let's say, Jeremy, I had an idea for like sort of a side project where maybe I made this cool scheduling software for, event planners, right? If I wanted to find out if this was something worth pursuing, I could write up a little cold email, use this call to action, and hopefully get some responses that'll tell me yay or nay in terms of whether or not I should pursue this. So easy, but here's the good thing. You're probably going to get quite a few replies here because the ask is so small, just because it's so easy to get back to somebody when they ask us something like this.
That's right. Things to consider. The smaller the commitment, the more reply you're going to get, right?
True words.
Okay, let's move on. Does this sound like something you would be interested in exploring? Jack? ?
I am always surprised at how many deals follow a call to action like this. Like, there's nothing salesy about it, but I'm telling you, the replies vary from, sure, send me some info, to, we've been looking for a fit. We have this problem. Send us pricing information, please. Like, you do not have to say, can I sell you this, in order for people to ask you for, the payment page. And this is a great call to action that if you approach the right group of people with the right message, using this call to action can lead to some really interesting conversations.
Next one. This time I'm going to try to sort of like combine 2 asks or 2 questions. Do you have a few minutes to connect and see if this is something that may be of value to you? ?
It can work, right? But I'm going to say be careful here, because there's something magic about saying, like, do you want to see if this is something that may be of value? Like, you're really just, to me, having an honest conversation here where it's like, You're not this snake oil peddler here saying, this is for you, this is ultra beneficial, and it's going to give you higher ROI in 5 seconds. It's essentially the opposite of that. This is maybe for a longer sales cycle. Maybe you understand that this is going to take 3 months before you can get a deal signed. And at this point, you may have the wrong company. It happens. And you're putting your cards on the table. And if you've said the right things, if you've hit the right pain points, then you're hoping the CTA will get a response. And it may, but just know that there's a bit of a danger or a risk using the CTA.
Yeah, to me, it means like it's almost like two different things. Is the first one, is that valuable to you? Yes or no. And the second one is, do you have time to connect?
Yeah.
Therefore, it's a slightly higher commitment than the previous one. But at the same time, this is something you could use when you know that you're already connected to someone. We're only talking about cold email here, but if it is your existing clients and you already have a relationship with them, you could be upselling them on a new thing that you're integrating in your software, and you just want to check the water. Is that really something you would value or not? That's a great call to action for that.
I love that point, Jeremy. So let me piggyback on that for a moment. If you've already got some sort of a relationship with a prospect, maybe this is the sweet spot to use this call to action. Because let's say, Jeremy, I say, I don't know, hey, Jeremy, like I'm trying to find out if scheduling your team is an issue. And would you mind just replying if you struggle with this or not? You say, hey, yeah, occasionally. Boom. Once I got a reply from you, maybe I would say, okay, cool. I actually just made XYZ. Since you said you kind of have this issue, do you have a few minutes to connect and see if, boom, this may be something of value? Okay, maybe that's a little bit better placement for that call to action.
Next one. Are you contemplating starting into a project this year? Question mark.
Let's say your prospects are seeking out office space. Maybe they were working remotely, and for the first time, they're going to be looking for a commercial realtor, and they're going to be needing to move a bunch of stuff into a physical location, all this stuff. Maybe that's your market. And if it's difficult to find out if they're currently tackling this project, just finding out if they're in this space, so to speak, could help you flag, okay, this company said yes, so therefore they're a hot prospect. We're going to add 100 points to their rating, which means that they were our most valuable prospect to go after. They're going to be followed up with phone calls, and they're going to be added to these two salespeople's agendas this week and all of that. This is something I may use when it's kind of tricky to find out if they're a good fit or not.
For me, I'm thinking that this could be a perfect CTA for re-engaging cold prospects, especially those ones who told you like, no, not interested this year, or not now, or those sort of things. Then that's a great campaign to re-engage, 6 months later. Or if you check out, episode 82, when we are talking about cadence and the benefit of keeping on hitting your prospect over a long period of time so you can get the right timing right there and then.
Yeah, no, this is cool. And let's change our lens that we're viewing this call to action one more time here. Let's say, Jeremy, that I'm a developer looking for a job. I might say, reach out to a startup and saying, are you looking to hire a full-time developer this year? That could get something started in the form of, in a lot of ways, a sales conversation. If they're not, then boom, not to waste any time. So something valuable when you don't know everything about your prospect, but there's a certain criteria you have to sort of flesh out before you can know to pursue them or not.
I'm going to switch gear a little bit this time, and I'm going to add some assumption about the prospect I'm contacting. I'm going to say, is fixing this issue the topmost priority for you right now? Question mark.
This CTA can have a huge payoff if you're right. It can let you down in the many instances where you're wrong. So, gosh, the topmost priority, if you really are sure of your pitch and of your market, and you know that whatever you're tackling is a top priority for the individual, yeah, then go ahead and use it. But if you're not as sure-footed, then maybe, because here's why, maybe it is important. Although if you ask them, is it the topmost priority? If it's not, they may tell you no, and then you wouldn't learn anything else about them.
Yeah, I could see that working when you already have a list of listeners, for example, and you have an offering, there is some scarcity in place, and you only want to work with people who are really willing to put in the work, for example, those sort of things that could potentially see that working.
Here's one other thing we haven't discussed yet, is fixing this issue. Right there, you are assuming they have a problem.
Yeah, you're right.
You may be dead wrong. So if you're using this call to action, again, just make sure you know what's going on at your prospect's desk, at their company before you send off this really, not presumptuous, but it assumes you know a lot of information.
And you're right, actually. I wouldn't use fixing. The wording as well, we keep coming back to this episode 19, the fox and the crow. But fixing is actually meaning like something is broken and it's kind of like negative. And just to give you like a small context here, if you contact a company telling them their website is broken and you're going to help them out, chances are that your email is going to be trashed, not because their website is not broken and you can't help them, but just because they don't want to look bad,
yes,
with you. So instead, actually, I will reverse it. And instead of saying, is fixing this issue the top priority, I will just skip the fixing and I will just say, is this issue the top priority for you to reach out this year?
Or what about instead of fixing, AKA calling out there's a problem, what if you used a slightly different terminology? If you said like, is optimizing your website for mobile users
exactly
of high priority, right? So you catch more flies with honey than
vinegar.
Vinegar, there you go. Fox and the crow, yada, yada. All right, keep on moving on.
Oh, it's an interesting one, this one. Can you confirm with a yes, no, if this is a pain point you're currently experiencing? So this time I'm pre-chewing the work and I give them the option of just saying yes or no. Presumably, they're too lazy to give me like a full answer and they will reply if they just say yes or no. What do you think?
Couple things. If you just heard Jeremy read that call to action and you said, ugh, I don't want a bunch of yes or no's. It's not even asking them if they want to speak with me on the phone. This is several steps away from that conversation I want to have. Just realize that there's a beauty in maximizing the number of conversations you're having with the right prospects. So even though, this is not going to put money in your bank account when someone replies, the money is going to come in following up on these responses. And yes, I think this call to action is going to get you a bunch of replies compared to, say, are you free for a 7-minute chat on Wednesday? You will get more replies. So let me go a layer deeper. This is going to be a great call to action. And just to restate it, can you confirm with a yes or no if this is a pain point you currently experience? This is a great call to action if you're testing the waters, if you're bringing a new idea to a new marketplace that you really are unsure of. And especially if you come across as someone who's just here to gather information and you're seeking them out because they're someone who knows this kind of stuff. Like I can see a college student using this call to action that says, hey, I'm a student at XYZ University. I'm currently working on a project that does XYZ. Can you just let me know with a yes or no if this is a pain point you currently experience? Like people would be happy to reply with a yes or no to let that student know they're on track. So it's got some definite use cases.
It's got some places.
Yeah, it has some place in the cold email world, maybe even for your campaign. Just get creative with it. It's powerful.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is a typical commitment and consistency stuff as well. It could actually be applied when you're in conversation with multiple people and just trying to get some commitment from people to just say like, yes, this is important to us kind of thing.
And if you're interested in why this works, just Google foot in the door technique. It's an old school.
Ooh, that must hurt.
Yeah, it's like it's an old school sort of psychology or sales technique that tries just to get a little conversation started in order to build up to something greater with a few more touch points. So check it out. Maybe useful.
Are you interested in a partnership between insert my company and insert their company? ?
Oof. This feels like one of the highest commitment levels that we have spoken about on this and the second part.
Yeah, I got the contract right there. You just need to sign as well. I joined the contract.
Yeah, it's in the PDF. Boy. Okay, so this only makes sense. I don't know, Jeremy, maybe you can help me, but I'm thinking that the person is using partnership in a way that we're not thinking about. Maybe, I don't know, in other parts of the world, a partnership could simply mean like an agreement
or a joint webinar, for example, or some stuff like that. I think that would work better.
There you go. So, Jeremy, I could see maybe we would use this call to action if we wanted to get a guest on our show. Maybe we'll say, hey, like what you're doing. We could maybe have you on the show to talk about XYZ. Are you interested in a partnership between our cast and your whatever, your blog or something?
Right. Sounds great. Let's move on. What are the top 2 or 3 outcomes you'd like to see this year?
Alone, it's a bit out of context. Alone, I'm not 100% sure where this call to action is going, but let's take it apart. If I was selling something that helped a company get more clients, right? It's possible that I may spin that cold email. So I say, hey, we help XYZ companies get more clients. I'm trying to find out if you're in the right growth position right now. What, just so I know where you're at, what are the top 2 or 3 sales outcomes you'd like to see? Or what are the top 2 or 3 events you'd like to host this year? Or what are the top 2 or 3 companies you'd like to work with as a freelancer? You know what I mean?
For me, it's a sort of like great call to action when you're really starting from scratch or way back. You could look at episode 73 on how to launch your startup with cold email. I think that could be a good one to start initiating some conversation when you're actually not quite sure what product you want to do, but you really know what market you want to serve. So let's say, for example, you love, I don't know, doing golf. So you're contacting all those golf courses and you really want to understand deeply how their business is working. I would see that could work like that.
Let me try another instance. Let's say, Jeremy, that I find out you're hiring, I don't know, a CMO at your company. If I reached out directly to you and I said, hey, I saw your job posting, I'm interested, but I wanted to just quickly ask, like, for the CMO, what are the top 2 or 3 major goals that you'd like to see them accomplish this year? That may help you get your foot in the door. I don't know. What are your takes on that? Would it work? Would it backfire?
Well, put it to try.
Yeah.
Put it to test, I think. Let's move on to share content. What is it about?
Sharing content means you're looking to exchange a video, a article, a podcast link, some kind of content in order to get a conversation started. And this can be used pretty effectively when you've got these long sales cycles that you can't just say, hey, jump on the phone with me, or maybe you've tried that and it's not working. So maybe you want to take a step backwards and start using content in a way to get cold email conversations going.
Got it. Let me pick one. Do I have your permission to send them to you? ?
I actually used this call to action in a campaign for, I think we were going after lawyers, and it ended up working pretty well. I have a few ideas why it worked, but the cool thing with this call to action is it basically acknowledged the prospect's importance here. It's like, this is someone who you need permission in order to share something.
It's an ego boost.
Yeah, an ego boost, right? And also, you know what it is? It's kind of contrary to a lot of cold email that people are typically receiving, where it's just like, boom, in your face, poof, here's everything. Instead, it's like you sort of give them a teaser, it's like, hey, I have this, it'll help you, or it'll explain XYZ. If that teaser is appealing, then just saying, hey, do I have your permission to send it over? Gosh, that's kind of hard to say no to, while respecting their inbox at the same time.
The question is, will it send me 20 more follow-ups if I don't reply?
Probably.
All right, reply yes, and I'll send the report your way.
I'm a fan of asking really simple calls to actions that lead to a clear endpoint. So it's like, reply yes, 3 letters they have to type in, and the return button, and boom, they've done their part. And you've linked that to the benefit, where it's like, boom, you'll get the report, or boom, I'll send you what it is I've promised. And it just takes a lot of load off of the recipient's plate, meaning this is a very low commitment CTA. Use this if you're struggling to get any reply in the door. It's tough to say no to something like this. If you've nailed the market, if you're sending to the right people, and if you've explained clearly why they should care about the report you're about to send.
Okay, the next one is a big stereotype. It's usually, I see that as people who actually don't really know how to provide value to other people, and therefore they just want to share a link. I personally hate that. If you reach out to me with sharing a link, that's not going to work. Just because you're basically telling me, hey, spend some time looking something else. It's like, I got more things. I actually want less things. So let me jump in. I thought you may find this article an interesting read. Hope you enjoy it! !
So like you, Jeremy, I don't like getting links. I've never gotten a cold email that included a link that was relevant to me specifically. But here's where I would use this call to action. if maybe we're LinkedIn connections, Jeremy. Maybe I know you through LinkedIn, but we don't really have a thing going on. I may just say, Happy New Year. Thought you may find this article about cold email interesting. Hope you enjoy it. And this is a way just to touch base, get top of mind, and it may preempt. Is that the right word? And it may come before I send you a more direct cold email now that, I'm just trying to build something here, just send something thoughtful.
Okay, that's a fair point. I'm thinking that this could actually work in two cases. The first one is, this is a very specific field. Maybe I'm like at the forefront of AI, and this is a very latest article that is super relevant to what I'm doing and so on. All right, fair enough. Most of the time, however, it is like 10 biggest mistakes of XYZ, those sort of things that are, zero value, honestly.
And then that article will pivot and say like, book me for your next, thing.
But at the same time, I can see that working if you spend the effort to summary this article for me so I can judge based on the summary if this is something I want to know more. And very often people are just lazy. They just say, sorry, I'm getting emotional on this, as you can probably guess. But, most of the time people are just lazy and they don't actually spend the time to summary what could potentially be interesting or take away from this article. So here's how it should be. Hey, I thought you may find this article interesting. Read, here's why. Bang, bang, bang. Here's the top main points. If you want to know more, I included the full link. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's way better to me.
Okay. And one thing we should point out here, this is a CTA swipe file, but I thought you may find this article an interesting read. Hope you enjoy it. That's not a CTA. It's mostly, this is perfect for a follow-up. It's just, you're not asking them to do something in return. So it breaks a lot of the classic call to action rules here, but it can be effective if you sort of modify it, like Jeremy said, or use it appropriately, like just to stay top of mind with prospects or people you want to connect with.
All right, let's move on. You're spot on. There is no CTA. Would you mind if I send you a short video to explain how this may help? ?
I like it. Sending a short video is a bit unique in that it takes effort from somebody to craft this video. So you may get more yeses in return. Again, it depends. You need to be talking about something important in that video, but it can work really well. Just be careful, because if you send this out a lot of times, you can get many yeses that end up wasting your time, right? So just make sure you qualify prospects before using this CTA.
I was about to say that actually this works great in a two-part campaign. The first one is gauging interest, like, are you interested, or
nice,
or is that a problem at your company? Yes, no kind of thing. And then you follow up with effectively saying, well, you know what, I could send you a video, maybe before jumping on a demo call, or maybe before doing an ask for some time to talk or to get a demo call. So it's like slowly getting there and warming up prospect to the demo call. All right, so this concludes episode 2 of our now 3-series podcast on tearing down this CTA.
Yeah, that's right. We wanted to make sure we cover this in enough detail. So for the first time, we're stretching out a topic over 3 episodes. If you want to see all the CTAs that we're talking about, head over to quickmail.io/goodies and you can get it for free. All right.
There you go.
See you in the next episode.
See you next week, guys.
Okay, that covers part 2 of the CTA swipe file episode. Stick around. We've got one more episode left of this series where we dive into more calls to actions that you can use in your cold emails. Stay tuned. Hey, cold emailer.
Yeah, you.
If you got some value from this episode, give us a high five by sharing a 2-sentence review on iTunes.
Or Stitcher or Tuning. That works too.
It's a quick way to help other growth-minded folks like us find this podcast,
so they can send awesome emails
and make everyone's inbox a better place. Thanks.